Hey everybody, good morning. Welcome back to my channel. I am going to do a get ready with me. It's Monday morning, getting ready for work. I've already made like breakfast and lunch and stuff. So now I'm back in my room to get ready. I get up really early. I get up between 4:30 and 4:45. So right now it is 5:43, and like I said, I've completed all my morning chores. I have to wake everybody up after this, so I'm just going to show you what I do in a typical morning routine. So the first thing I do is make sure that my face is moisturized and cleansed and all that other fun stuff. And then typically what I'll do is I'll start with my eyes. So my favorite eye primer is the Too Faced Shadow Insurance primer, and that's this one right here. Let's see. I'm sure you guys have seen this before. It's a pretty popular brand. So that's what I'm going to use for my eyes. I'm not going to do too much talking in this video because it's early in the morning. I haven't finished my coffee yet, and I don't want to wake anybody up with all this racket. All right, so that's some primer. I'm going to let it sit there for a little bit so it can get kind of sticky. Pulling out a wipe so I can wipe my hands as I go along. And then, let's see. Next, I'm going to try and get my brows done. So I'll use this little spoolie that's on the end of this ColourPop. It's a brow liner, but I don't use it really. So I think the color is too dark for me. But I like the spoolie, so I'm going to use that. And then, let's see, for my brows, my favorite brow pencil is from MAC, and it is called Spiked. It's the Eyebrows Styler, and it looks like this. This is where the actual brow liner is, and then this end has a spoolie. The old version of this didn't have a spoolie on the end, and then also when you would go to advance the product, you couldn't retract it, so they've updated that where you can actually put the product back in and then pull it out as needed. So for brows on a work day, I'm really not trying to do the most. I just want to fill them in. As I've gotten older, my brows have become more sparse. So I notice that if I fill them in, I at least look like I'm halfway alive. All right. That's pretty sufficient for me for brows. It doesn't need to be anything more than that. I do have a brow gel here from Anatasia Beverly Hills. I actually bought this and it was in a little kit with 2 other products, so I like this brow gel. It's a nice color and it has good hold. Sorry about that. I was talking and then I realized I was like doing a lot of sniffling. So, what was I saying? It's early. Trying to wake up here. All right, so that's the brow gel just to kind of hold the brows in place. And like I said, I'm not trying to do the most with my brows in the morning, I think. Especially during a weekday, like for work, it's not necessary. Okay, so let's see. What am I looking for? Oh, my primer. So I have the Rimmel Stay Matte Primer. I'm sure you guys have seen this before. I don't know how to, sorry. I don't know how to get this to focus, but maybe if I put it like near me. It's all washed out on camera. I'm sorry guys, but this is the Stay Matte Primer by Rimmel. And I like this primer. I only have a little bit left here. It's a white primer, but it blends out onto your skin and just disappears. So you don't have to worry about it leaving a cast or anything like that. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to grab my LA Girl Pro Conceal Concealer. That's this one. This one is in the color Fawn, but I do have other colors around here somewhere. I like to use the concealer on my lid after I've primed my eyes. Sometimes I'll use just a concealer, but I've noticed if I prime my eyes first, then I don't have as much creasing. And then typically what I'll do is grab a cosmetic wedge and I'll use the cosmetic wedge to blend that in. This leaves a nice even base around my eyes so that even if I'm doing like just a monocolored look, it looks nice and balanced instead of showing like the hyperpigmentation that's inherent around my eyes. Just makes for a more even canvas. Okay, so that's done. And then I'm going to grab these little elf line and define eye tapes. That's what that looks like. And I like these because they're gentle around the eyes. They come off much more easily than tape does. I think it's safer to use. Okay, so today's eyeshadow palette is going to be the Anatasia Beverly Hills Jackie Aina collaboration. This is one of my favorite palettes. I've used this palette to death, and I have a backup of the palette itself because I just love it so much. And the colors that I'm going to use today are, let's see, it's going to be Lituation, Credit, and Ginger down here. So these three. And I'm not really going to go overboard or anything, you guys. It's a basic look for work. I'm going to start off the way I normally do. Actually, I typically start off with my crease, but I think today I'm just going to start with my lid. No. Don't deviate. Just do what you normally do. It's early. Alright, so in my crease, I'm going to go ahead and use Ginger. And I'm going to start off by patting it. And then after I've deposited enough color, I'm just going to do a little bit of blending because I'll blend the rest of this out later. Okay. And then for my outer corner, I'm gonna deposit a little bit of Credit. Credit is it's a really strong color, so I don't want to go overboard with this. But I'm just gonna drop that right there on the outer V. Again, I'm not like rubbing it on, I'm just patting it on. And then bring it in just a little bit further. So it's taking up about the outer third of my lid. And that's as far as I want to go with that. In terms of taking up mobile lid space, I did not take this up to my crease. I just used it on the mobile lid. And then for underneath my eyes, I'll deposit this later. So that's why we save our brushes and keep them out until we're done. And then, like I said, for the lid, I'm going to use Lituation. I swear Jackie created this as the working woman's palette because it is incredibly easy to whip up like a daily look with this palette without really having to become some kind of specialized artist. This is really a palette that's really like the everyday person. It's for the working man or working woman that just wants to look fabulous when they're on their way to their Monday through Friday or working long weekends and they just want to look cute. Or at least presentable. I feel like for myself, if I'm gonna go to work, I want to try and put some face on too. So it looks like I wanted to be there. If you put half as much energy into doing your makeup when you go to work as you would going out on the night on the town or going to the club or whatever it is that you do, then I think it really shows. You don't have to wear makeup, obviously, but you may want to at least throw some lipstick on. All right. And that's it for Lituation. So, see what I mean? How it's just kind of it's a palette where you can just put together 3 colors and be done with it. Okay, so what's next? So next I'm gonna, actually let me do this first. Next I'm gonna blend some of this in a little bit. Not a lot, because I already did some blending before, so I'm just trying to get the colors to look like they all are supposed to be there, running off into the sunset together. All right, let's take this off. Take that off. See how much more gentle that is when I pull it off of my skin than tape would be? That's what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to go here and grab my wipe and see if there's anything I need to clean up. I'm just patting this edge a little bit because I don't want it to look so harsh. Alright, so if I wasn't going to wear any foundation or anything, then I would slap some lipstick on, and I would also, put like a finishing powder, and that would be the end of the look. But I'm going to put a little bit of foundation on because I didn't get any sleep, and I have really dark circles underneath my eyes hereditarily, but it's especially pronounced when I'm really tired. I have a cold right now, and I was up coughing like most of the night, unfortunately. Just putting some of my stuff away. Alright, so for foundation, I've really been loving the Shiseido Synchro Skin Self-Refreshing Foundation. The color I wear is 510 Suede. It's a little bit dark for me, but it's okay. I can make it work. But I do love this foundation. I like the way that it feels on my skin, and this self-correcting technology is pretty phenomenal. Excuse me. So I just put a couple of squirts on the back of my hand, and then that same little sponge I used earlier on my eyes, it's gonna dot that into the foundation and start under here. I always start at the center of my face and then I work my way out. And then I'm pushing just up underneath my lash line. I'm not going to touch the lash line, like I'm not going to let it buttress, but it's just underneath the lash line. And as you can see, I'm kind of spreading it out on the skin on the outside, but I'm patting it underneath my eye because I don't really want to pull that skin. And then same thing on this side. Just patting it underneath the eye. And then for the rest, I'm just going to pull it out. I didn't do any color correcting or anything like that this morning, but I often will take a color corrector that I have from, I think the company is called Koivoka, and I'll put that underneath my eyes and around my mouth. All right. I think that looks okay. Yeah, that's good enough. I don't need to spend a whole lot of time doing that. It's like, all right, so let's finish up the eyes. I'm going to go back in with those brushes I used before. I don't really need to add any more product. I'm just going to use the same brush I used before and take credit and put that right underneath along the lash line. And then I'm always going to be looking away from wherever the brush is because I don't want to like poke my eye out. So if it's along my bottom lash line, then I'm going to look up. And then that big old fluffy brush I used to blend out my crease that has ginger on it, I'm going just underneath the color I just deposited credit, and I'm popping that right underneath there. It's easier to do this with a smaller brush, like a detailed brush, but A, I don't want to dirty up every brush I have, which is a lot of brushes here, and then B, I don't really need to do that because I do this every morning, so I'm used to it. And then, let's see, I'm going to use the setting spray. Actually, hold on. I'm going to use this powder. This is the Rimmel Insta Fix and Matte Translucent Powder. It's pretty popular. I'm sure you guys have seen it before. It's white in the pan, this one in particular, but it doesn't show up like that on my skin. It's pretty translucent. It's going to take this big old fluffy brush. And as you can see, I've hit pan with that powder because I love it. I use it all the time. And I'm just going to put it in my nose. And this is just to set the makeup for the day, because I have pretty oily combination skin. So I'd like to try and maintain the look for as long as I can. This is a really good foundation. It will last me pretty much for my work day. All right. And then also I'm going to put on a little bit of blush. So the blush I'm going to use is by NYX, and it's called Sweet Cheeks Glow. And the color is Fig. I think this is one of their new blushes that they came out with. And that's what the color looks like. On camera, it's coming off a lot more silvery than it is in real life. Real life, it has more of a plum color with a slight silver shift to it. Just popping a little bit of that on my e.l.f. brush. This is my favorite blush brush. It's by e.l.f. And just throw that on the cheeks. I don't typically wear highlighter when I'm at work, so there's not going to be any highlighter today. I don't contour either, nothing like that. Just basic look. Okay. And I'm going to use this setting spray by Urban Decay. It's the Slick Makeup Setting Spray. It's the oil controlling one. Sorry that the camera pretty much is like washing this out. It has two different lids, by the way. This one and then this one. I'm going to go like this. Am I really running out of this stuff? I use it all the time. Yep. That's it. You guys just watch me use that up. You'll see that in my empties video. Boop. Throw that in the empties box, along with everything that just fell on the floor. All right. Just let that soak in a little bit. I'm going to pop this mascara on, and I'll throw on some lipstick and we'll be done. So the whole look takes about like 30 minutes, 35 minutes. It's not a really long look, but it's also not a short one. If you're trying to do something similar but you want to abbreviate the look for time, then I recommend doing your brows and choosing one color for your lid and just wearing like a mono lid color. And a mono, just one color for your lid. And throwing on some mascara. If you want to use foundation, you can, and primer and all that. But really what you're looking for is just a nice, tidy look for work that looks professional. And then also looks like you put some time and energy into it. But you don't have to spend this much time doing it. You can come up with like a routine that is just 5 minutes and it will be just as effective. I just happen to have fallen into this pattern of this particular routine, so that's why I'm doing it. But if you guys want me to do a more basic look, something where you literally can just pop it on in 10 minutes and fly out the house, let me know and I'll show you my version of that. Alright, let's find a lipstick. I just want something neutral. I've been getting a lot of love out of this NYX Intense Butter Gloss in the color Oatmeal Raisin. So we're going to use a gloss today. Keep it glossy. All right, that's it, guys. That is the entire look. I know, very basic, good enough to go to work, to look nice. And yeah, now I'm gonna get dressed, get my kid dressed, and we're gonna fly out the door. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Take care.